Good morning, Ms. Johnson.
Hey, come on.
How are you?
Oh, please don't ask you on, but go ahead.
Okay, well, I won't ask that again.
It's okay. It's okay.
But Ms. Johnson, you are here on an old case you had with me, and you were given what we call pretrial intervention. You were going to be in a program with PAD, but something came up in DeKalb, and you got pulled over to DeKalb.
A little situation had went on up in Dorby. I mean, Alpharetta, and it was miscellaneous.
Okay. Well,
But she was telling me that I didn't know I had supposed to came back over here for the PAD program. So
Right.
they didn't tell me that. But go ahead.
so we'll work through that. But you did have a court date. It would have been, oops, you're not on my screen anymore. Let me get you back. You had a court date where we were going to talk about, hey, had you done PAD? What happened? And you didn't make it to court. And so one of the reasons you ended up in jail recently was a warrant that I had signed way back in 2023. And so we're going to talk today just about setting that warrant aside.
Okay.
Because you've got other business to deal with. You've got a new charge that won't, if that's in here, that's just by coincidence. But I do want to make sure we close the loop on, are we going to pursue the PAD situation or just let Ms. Johnson focus on the new charges? Why don't we start by talking about setting aside the bench warrant?
Yes. So Judge, way back in March of 2022, it looks like Ms. Willingham and I decided that a virtual PTI with PAD as the condition was appropriate for this case.
Yep.
Or Ms. Charles, rather. But we did the release to DeKalb, and then I think what happened was that there was some miscommunication, and DeKalb never brought her back to Fulton to go into the PAD program. And then, of course, from there, it just kind of went downhill. It's my understanding Ms. Johnson didn't have any issues with the law up until this new charge. She had been living with a family member, like I said, in South Georgia. So she has been in custody for 25 days. So
Where in South Georgia were you staying?
At my aunt's right there on offer. Is it Overthorpe? Either Overthorpe or either in Albany, Georgia.
Okay, that is far south. Okay.
I think it's Overthorpe or either can't think of the other street.
Okay. But the city was Albany?
Yeah.
Okay, down in Albany. Got it. And when you have to make bond, you have bond in your new charge. If and when you post that bond, would you go back to Albany or would you be staying here in the Atlanta area?
To be honest, if I have to come back to court, I will have to stay here in Atlanta. I mean, I don't know if he will let me resign back in his establishment or not, because
Okay.
I know he have other people staying with him.
Okay, your relative down in Albany.
Well, yeah, I have a celebrate, but see, I don't want to improve their privacy. Just like, I mean, if they have somewhere for me to go here, I will go, but the Salvation Army on not Mitchell Street, Lucky Street, they charge. I can't go back in the red, well, I call it Red October. The red Salvation Army, I can't go back in there. They discriminate on transgender.
Okay.
So what I have to do is go down to one further down and pay for it.
Okay,
But I
which
don't
means you need
appreciate
some money, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So what are you proposing, Ms. Wood?
I'm asking the court to lift the bench warrant.
Mhm.
In the meantime, I'm going to keep talking with Ms. Davis, probably Ms. Ross as well. Ms. Davis had mentioned possible global resolution for both cases. I would just need some more time to finesse those details with Ms. Johnson.
Okay. I guess that would be a way to get Ms. Johnson's new charge here. If it's an accusation, then it can be green sheeted here and handle it that way.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. All right, Ms. Davis, anything you want to add to the situation?
No, Judge.
Okay. If the goal is to resolve both, why shouldn't I just leave the bench warrant in place so that everyone has a chance to meaningfully interact with Ms. Johnson, your staff, et cetera?
That's a possibility, Judge.
Okay. If it looks like there's not going to be a global resolution, and it looks like Ms. Johnson could post the bond in the other case, either because she can or it gets reduced to a level that she can, then I'm happy revisiting the question of the warrant. But in the meantime, I think it helps keep everyone connected.
Understood.
Okay. So Ms. Johnson, you will get a visit soon, if you haven't already, from probably someone named Ms. Ross, but it's a colleague of Ms. Woods, who would talk with you about options for, like you were saying, a place like Salvation Army, but maybe one where they don't discriminate and maybe they don't charge. That would be a better fit. I don't know that that place exists, but Ms. Ross would know. And so she'll talk with you about your needs and your concerns. Ms. Wool will talk to you about your other case, because of course you've got these two different criminal charges. One in my courtroom from way back in 21, that really hasn't gone away. They basically put it on a shelf with the.
Which one is that one, if you don't mind, Your Honor?
I don't mind. So I'm not going to be able to describe it better than telling you what the charge is.
Okay.
And maybe that'll help you recollect. But the allegation is that in June of 21, so that's 4 years ago, you assaulted someone named Alice Wade. That's the allegation. And that's the one where, with your lawyer's help, the agreement was you'll go to PAD.
It's the same one that I got into it with?
Most recently? I don't know your recent charge is coincidentally from June of this year. So June is a complicated month for you, but you were, what it shows in the system is that you were arrested a few weeks ago for a different aggravated assault. I don't have any.
Arrested.
Well,
This is my first arrest here.
okay.
What do you mean?
Well, let me see if I can find it. But while I'm looking for that, just to clear things up, it sounds like the goal would be to resolve both that old case I mentioned with Ms. Alice Wood and the newer charge, which, here's the number, 4522.
Excuse me.
So you were arrested on June 7th, so just about 3 weeks ago. This year, and the allegation is that you assaulted someone named William Gordner with a hammer.
Okay.
And I don't want you to talk about it because there may be all sorts of reasons why you say that didn't happen, but that's the allegation, is that you and Mr. Gordner got into it, and he had some cuts on his head, and you had a hammer. So you were arrested for that. When you got arrested, they said, oh, wait, Ms. Johnson has this old case with Judge McBurney, and Judge McBurney had signed a warrant because you never ended up doing the PAD situation.
What's that you came in there the first time? Where did she go? It was you.
We've visited at the jail.
No, 3 of y'all came.
See, that's how much they
Somebody
care.
else.
They're bringing a big
The first
team.
one came and told me that I had a bench warrant from DeKalb County.
Oh, I don't know about the cat, but you had a bench warrant from me. That's where I signed.
From where?
For the case with Alice Wood and Alice Wade, who you hit with wood, it says. Anyway.
Oh, you talking about in Colorado?
Nope, I'm talking about, I don't know
You said
anything.
hit with a stick?
Yeah. Well, it says wooden object, and then it says 2x4. But again, I
I was
don't.
in Colorado. I already had done settled that up there.
Okay. Well,
That was stealing my personal and jumped on me and stole my pad and pocketbook.
Well, they shouldn't do that. But this is a different situation. This is not
but
Colorado.
one of the
What were you doing?
he must have put it in the computer. One of the used to be a correction out here years ago, but now he's up there in Colorado.
How did you get all the way to Colorado?
Huh?
How
It's
did
been
you-
away from a whole bunch of drama, and then they got Went up there for shelter, because you know they don't have too many shelters here.
No, but Colorado's far away.
Yeah, I think it's 3 or 4 states away.
So the case here, the one that you had the bench
I don't
warrant
remember hearing
for,
nobody here with no stick.
the allegation is that you were up near Haynesbridge Road and you were swinging something at pedestrians, and the officer,
Where is that road is?
it's in probably Alpharetta. It's in Alpharetta. Anyway, different situation, not the Colorado one. And Ms. Wood and others are gonna talk.
No, excuse me, they locked me up for, this called a conduct.
Okay,
But that's when the officer came over to me and slammed my head almost into the back of this person's black car, and I turned around and asked him, why did you do that? He
okay,
claimed that I was harassing the people who were around where I were.
okay. That may be
That's
this.
when I went shot to you guys, but I already had something going on in the cab.
Yes, yes. So we're connecting now. And it was that
Right.
DeKalb
And see,
situation.
what I did, I ended up doing a year in Rice, and I kept telling them.
You did 405 days. You were
I
there
did
for a long
whole
time.
Year.
Yeah.
And then when it was time for me to go to the Cab County, so when I got over there and I walked in, and she said, you should, and I had the paper to bring it, and they detailed it. Cause I couldn't come there to come here.
Yep. Well, my hope is that you and your lawyers, your legal team, are able
Well,
to.
evidently my legal team is not really for me, Your Honor, because I want to keep going through this.
Well, except that you didn't come back to court. That's not
But
your
see,
legal
they didn't
team's
tell
fault.
me I had to come back to court.
And one more thing, and then we don't need to have a back and forth. Your legal
Okay.
team didn't have anything to do with this poor guy getting hit in the head with a hammer.
Correct. But
Okay.
see, you don't know what the poor guy did to me.
I don't.
Me and her already have been through this situation. It's the same guy.
I'm not.
It's the same guy.
I'm not taking
But go ahead.
sides. He may have done some real bad things. You're the one who got arrested for it.
Correct.
And so here we are.
And they didn't see what they threw at me behind the motor station, which I
Okay.
got up and moved, as I was telling the first lady. But go ahead.
Okay. So I hope to see you again soon to have a conversation about maybe resolving both these situations.
Okay.
And connecting you with some resources that help you out so that you aren't having to bounce from place to place. Okay.
Okay, so I'm not trying to rush you. You know how long that would be? Or I have to spend months and months and
It's not months and months, but I do need you to speak with Ms. Ross, who will come talk to you. It's another part. She's not here right now. She's got other stuff going on, just like you. So she'll come visit with you, and then once your legal team has figured out a plan, they'll talk about it with the prosecutor. If they can get pretty close to agreeing, we'll come in here and see what we can do.
Okay.
All right, so your best bet is to just keep your head down and do your best to not get into it with anyone while you're at
And
Rice
that's the
Street.
reason I asked before it got started, Your Honor, to move me to another situation. And she told him, but he never did it. So that's why I stays in the park. But I don't mind sitting in the park. I just open the door so it won't fill up with that smell of metal. I can't take metal like that.
Okay,
And it comes and shut and slams the door. I mean, long as you don't say anything to me or do anything to me, I'm basically fine.
good. Well, hopefully that's how it stays, and I hope to see you
And
soon.
another thing, like I said, I don't know how long this is gonna take. I really wanted a pad or something to listen to. I don't know why, Your Honor, and I brought it to your attention last time, you and the other. Why do every time I get locked up, they take my bank card?
How do you have a bank card?
I'm saying they takes it.
Okay.
Usually when we get locked up, we got it there answer, do we want commissary?
Yeah.
We're taking a sweat. Every time I get locked up, they takes my bank card and don't
Okay.
get it back.
Well, I think they take everyone's, but they should give you your stuff back. And your lawyer can help you navigate that process. When you are getting checked out, they can do their best to make sure that what you had when you got checked in is given back to you. Okay?
No, I was saying every time I get arrested, I want to slide my card to get commissary.
Okay.
So y'all don't do that anymore.
I don't think so, but I don't know. don't know a whole lot about how that works.
Okay.
I think people put it on your books for you, but the great person to ask would be some of the folks who are helping you here or out at the jail. Okay?
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Judge.
Walk on.